Killer. Awesome, man. Well, today we have the one, the only Jeffrey Suits, Jeffrey Scott, Jeffrey Appelson. Pleasure to have you, my friend.
Thank you, my man. I'm excited to be part of this
Yeah, it only took like two
podcast.
weeks. Yeah, it only took a
I
couple
know.
weeks. I know there's a little hiccup on my end, and then I thought you were being passive aggressive when I asked you to come on again, and like there was this whole thing. And thankfully,
I
we're
might have been.
okay. We're here now. That's all that matters.
We
We
are.
actually get to see each other tomorrow too, and hopefully some other time soon. But appreciate you coming on, man. Yeah, Jeff. He's the owner and designer at Jeffrey Scott. Jeff makes the most ballin' suits that I've ever seen. So ballin' that I haven't even bought one yet because I don't think I deserve to wear it. One of these days, I'm gonna have to pony up and grab myself a jacket. But yeah, man. So, first question I always want to ask people is, where does your love of sports come from?
Oh, wow. So I grew up with a very strong New York Giants fan base family. So it stems from that. I remember seeing a picture of myself in a Giants hoodie when I was like fresh out the hospital. At the house, my uncle put me in the hoodie, and that was it. So
Love it.
yeah, so I grew up with that. My mom and uncle were diehard Giants, Yankees fans. So it just stemmed from that.
I love it, man. Yeah,
Hmm.
same thing here. Right as most of my first few memories are of sports in some capacity, right? Like
Hmm.
either playing them or obviously rooting for them. And unfortunately for me, my family was a bunch of Mets fans, so I don't get to have fun during baseball season, but it's my
Yeah,
favorite sport, so it is what it is. But the reason why I wanted to hang out with Jeff today, other than that, we've become pretty darn good friends. We had a really great dinner a few months back. We should do that again. That was
we
delicious.
should, man. That was a lot of fun.
Now that your wife had your baby, congratulations.
Yes,
Maybe
thank
she
you.
could have a couple drinks too. Maybe you and I could be the DDs. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
But a big reason I wanted to hang out with Jeff today is Jeff makes some of the most the flyest suits, the coolest patterns and everything, and has worked with some of my favorite Mets players. And we'll get there. We'll get there. But after asking you why you love suits or sports so much, now I got to ask, what made you love suits enough to start a business and do this thing we call entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So from as far as I can remember, I've always been passionate about fashion style. I've always been into it. I remember getting made fun of for wearing skinny jeans before it was a thing. So
Yep.
I
Gotcha.
just wore what I liked, and I followed it. And so I worked part-time about 10 to 11 years ago at a suit shop in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, called Les Richards. And it was kind of like a men's warehouse vibe in there, where we had all the different brand suits, but we also had custom suits, which wasn't a main focus, but it was part of it. And I learned a ton while I was there. I grew a passion for the industry and suits, and it just stemmed from there. So I became friends with my manager there at the time, who I stayed connected with after I had left, and did my whole college career thing, different retail jobs, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I started a full-time sales job about 5.5 years ago at Paychex, selling payroll to small businesses. And at that same time, my friend from the suit shop started this business. And so I helped him out on side for fun because I enjoyed it. He was hooking me up with suits, so I couldn't turn that down,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And after working 3 years at Paychex and dealing with all these different types of businesses and owners and having these conversations and learning ins and outs of business, I felt comfortable doing my own thing. So I approached my friend and I said, "Hey, this is my passion. I love this. I want to grow this brand and make this, into something big. So how do you feel about bringing me on board?" And he said, "Yes, absolutely." I took half the company at that point. The other guy that had started the business with him, um, I don't know if I mentioned him maybe before, but he worked with us at the store as well. He transitioned out, and then so I came in, took his place, and then after about a year in, I took over completely, bought out my friend, rebranded, and so that was about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, and I've just been pushing since, man, and following the passion and loving every minute of it.
It is awesome. I know we're friends, so I have to say it, but I truly do love all the suits that you wear.
I
I've,
appreciate that.
I've had the opportunity to hang out in Jeff's suit room, which is equipped with a bunch of scotch for whatever reason, and a bunch of suits and a
Yeah,
bunch of swatches that have all the incredible Italian and other what are some of the, I know mostly Italian. What are the other
Italian and English.
English? Okay, there we go.
Yes, I think they are the best fabrics, so
Mhm.
that's all I use.
Everything is hand done. I just love what you do, man. I think it's so cool, and we're on a mission. I think it's 100 suits a month. I think that way we can, shout out to Paychecks. Obviously, I never actually knew that part of your story. We've been friends for a little over a year now, and I didn't
Yeah.
realize that the Paychecks part of the story. I knew you worked there. I thought you just did it because
Mhm.
you had to, but now it actually makes sense. You got to learn about all these small businesses, how they're run,
Yeah,
what you need to do to be a business owner, and that gave you the confidence to transition into doing something of your own. I think that's great. Honestly,
absolutely.
I had no idea, and I understand with Paychecks, you kind of you're running your book of business, right? So maybe that even gave you some added benefit and value too. But that's a little
A ton.
interesting tidbit that I
Yeah,
never knew.
yeah,
Look at that.
yeah. There you go, man.
And that's
Yeah,
why we do this.
I learned a lot. I mean, I'm grateful for the experience and the sales experience that I've gotten from this because that's the core of growing a business is selling, getting out there and building the brand, building your connections. And so that's super helpful.
So I guess let's just hop on right there then. How do you go about finding people, like, because everybody, whether they want to or not, first off, everybody looks better in a suit. I don't care who you are. If you have a really nice suit on, you look better, you
And you
feel
feel
better,
better.
you perform better, look good, feel
That's
good,
it.
play good. Deion Sanders said that, I think. So what how do you go about finding, especially when you're at these networking events, everybody's wearing a suit. How do you go
Right.
about actually finding the correct people that A, want to have a custom made suit, and B, have the monetary value, or have the the job that can pay for them to own a custom made suit?
Yeah. So you and I met networking, and
Hmm.
I'm a huge believer in that. Just getting out there and meeting people, making connections, and just through that, you find these people naturally. It's easy to judge and go up to somebody and say, no, they don't dress well, they're not into my stuff, blah blah blah. But there's opportunities everywhere. So if they're not interested, they might know somebody. Or maybe they want to upgrade their wardrobe and just haven't met the right person. So I just enjoy. I mean, I try my best to go and meet anyone, and bring it up in conversation. Um, Grateful for the fact that I wear it and I receive compliments. So it's like a conversation piece. It comes up in conversation almost every single time where somebody will compliment my suit, and it's an easy transition to say, "Oh yeah, I thank you so much. I actually make them." And then they're blown away, and then they want to find out more, and then it leads to more from there.
And friendships, because that's exactly what I said when you walked
That's
up
it,
to me. I
man.
said, "Man, you got a nice suit on." I think you were like trying to put your backpack down. You were kind of a little discombobulated at the time. I was like, "Dude, you got a nice suit on," and that's pretty much how it started. So I do want to go over, because I always love connecting dots. And how you and I met is, it's funny because we're probably located less than 35 minutes apart driving distance.
Yeah,
You're in Princeton all the time. I'm in Princeton all the time. But it's just funny. You and I met like a random November night. Like it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday in New York.
New York City.
Um, I think it was because you had a client that needed something but ended up canceling, so you were able to get there. And it was the first time I ever like pretty much went out networking to go meet people. And you and I just happened to come across each other. Turns out you're part of the Princeton Chamber of Commerce. I wanted to join. You brought me to the next event. We hung out a little bit, learned a little bit about each other. I joined the Princeton Chamber of Commerce, and the end's history, man. The
That's
rest is
it.
history. The end, I guess,
Yeah,
is history as well. But we haven't quite made it there yet. I think there's a couple more
the
things that
end
we
will
gotta.
be legacy.
Yes. Ooh, there we go. Let's clip that one
Ah,
out. That one's gonna be the clip I send you, so you can share this on all
love
your socials. But
it.
no, man, I love it. That is great. And as you said, there's so many ways to go find people. You never know who is the right person. You never know. Everybody knows somebody. So it's always great to just go up and talk, because everybody could have a nice conversation. Worst comes to worst, you get a nice compliment and you can roll with that momentum right into the next conversation, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's a big part of why I love dressing up, because you feel good, and people
Feel
are gonna
good.
notice it. People are gonna compliment you, and yeah,
It
it's
comes
great,
out
dude.
too, right? Like
Hmm.
when you feel good, you perform better, right?
You
Like
do.
you
You
feel
absolutely
better,
do.
more confident. Once your confidence, that's key to whether you're trying to, get a buy a drink for a girl or a guy at the bar, or if you're trying to make your
Yep.
next sale. Like being confident will always help in that. So one of the biggest reasons I wanted to bring you on, Jeff recently made a suit for NL Rookie of the Year, Peter Alonso of my New York Mets. When you told me you were doing that, I don't know if you remember my reaction, but I remember my reaction. And I was extremely jealous and very envious that you got to hang out and spend time with Pete, because he's on my fantasy team and I almost won the championship because of it. But
Oh, nice.
he's also on my favorite baseball team, so that helps. What led you to want to start working with athletes? Considering we're in the New York City area and Philadelphia area, there's so many teams, there's so many athletes here. What made you want to start working with some of these professional athletes around?
So I've been passionate about sports for as long as I have with fashion. And my original plan when I went to college was to do sports marketing and work for the Giants so I can be in that world and be around the players. And this is just another avenue I found to break into that. And dressing well in custom suits is huge in that industry. They brand themselves that way. They want to one up the next person and look better than the other, and they appreciate how they look now. You see when they go every game day, they're suited up. Most guys are in custom suits. So I knew there was a market there, and I know they have money to spend, and it's it's awesome. I figured it'd be a great opportunity, so I found a way in and I made it happen.
Here we go. I do. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Again, just coming from, your love of sports, wanting to work for the Giants, now potentially working for some of those players, you were able to combine two passions. And I think that
Yep.
that's the best way to do it, right? Like
Yeah.
with sports as an industry, it's exactly that. It's an industry. You can do finance, you can do marketing, you can do sales like myself, or you can make them suits. They all need it. It's all a necessity at some
Oh,
point or
yeah.
another. So I think it's great that you were able to it took a little while, but you were able to kind of connect those two dots.
Yes. Sorry.
It's all good, buddy.
Someone's at my doorbell, and the iPad's falling down.
Oh no! Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully your
Great
lovely wife
timing.
gets to the door. The new baby
Yeah.
doesn't
Soup
encumber her
delivery.
too much. But oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow! Look at that. Maybe we'll have a
I
live.
know.
We'll have a live showing. If this was live, that'd be cooler, I guess. But that's
Yeah.
perfect, man. I do love it. So, let's talk about some of these athletes. You work with Peter Alonso. You work with Mr. Flava Frazier himself, Todd Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
You worked with a couple of the other Mets players. When it comes to working with athletes, have you found that there's anything different that you have to do, or is it pretty much just the exact same process you'd go through just about every other time?
Same process. At least with the experience I've had so far, they're all great dudes. They're regular guys just like us, and you treat them like that, and they appreciate it. That's it, man. There's really nothing different. I went through the whole process the same as I would with you, and obviously I wouldn't be as starstruck with you as I am with them.
Oh, why not? Come on, man.
I'd be even more starstruck.
There we go. There we go.
Come on.
No, I think it's so cool that, again, like you worked with like 4 or 5 of the Mets players, if I'm not mistaken. Especially, again, just being a Mets fan, I think it's great. So, two processes I want to hear. One, how is the process in actually getting to them? What is that like, and what do you have to do to kind of at least just show up on their radar a little bit?
So most of it, the connections will come from people but I used social media and I reached out directly, and I had a handful of guys respond.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, and they were 2 of the guys that replied to me. And I worked out a deal with them, and they were completely on board.
Yep. And Pete looks really good in his suit too. And not to mention, Jeff might be on his way to being Instagram famous with about 20,000 followers. So don't worry.
Not
Jeff,
even close.
what's your at?
I'm at 20,000.
No. What's your handle?
What's my
what's your at?
Sorry,
I'm at 20,000. I'm at
This is
20,000.
new.
No, it's fine. It's fine. What's your Instagram handles? I mean, I'm going to put it in the show notes, but.
Thanks, dude. It is at How Do You Bespoke. HOWBE How
Do
do
you?
I can't spell.
It's
How
okay.
do you bespoke? You
Yeah,
can
people
spell
can
it.
spell. Yeah,
Yeah, you can figure
bespoke,
that
Bespoke. I think that's the one we need to know.
out.
But I love it, man. And just reaching out, and that's the power of social media, right? Like it's incredible how you can pretty much just do that and say, hey, if you give me, well, as you said, you made a deal, and it seems like hopefully it's been working out, and everybody's been noticing. I saw Pete in his suit the other day, I think, and he looked fantastic.
Yes, thank
Um,
you.
so yeah, I'm excited to see him in it a couple more times. And then I know he's engaged to be married, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to
He
cross my
is, yeah.
fingers that you get to work with him
I
again.
will. I
Yeah,
will be. Yes.
awesome, dude.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. He asked me to do the wedding and his groomsmen. So
Look at
yeah,
that. It's
yeah,
working.
man.
100 a month. We're getting close. Not really, but we're getting closer. And that's the important part. So
That's
everyone
it.
listening, we need Jeff to get 100 suits a month. That way his baby girl can go to college. And that's,
Thank you.
I mean,
Support
come on.
Riley.
Yeah, right. Support Riley. There we go. So now I want to know, talk to me a little bit about the process of actually making a suit for somebody. I mean, this is second nature to you, but people out there listening, they've never A, been starstruck by Pete Alonso like you have, but B, as you said, the process is exactly the same. So tell me what that process looks like.
So with the first fitting, for all of my fittings, I go right to my clients. I'm in their house or their office, and I bring all of the equipment with me. So the fabrics that you choose from, the buttons, the thread colors for the buttonholes, every detail, you get to choose every detail. So with that first fitting, it typically takes an hour and a half to 2 hours because we're going through all of the options. So we're picking the fabric, we're picking the buttons, we're picking the lining, the pocket style, the lapel style, every single detail of the suit. And if it's your first time, you're blown away because you never realize how much goes into it, um, which is pretty awesome. So there's every time I get a new client, that's the best because now somebody has a new appreciation for this, and I love that about it.
Hmm. So
So
wait,
with that
actually,
first,
I'd like to stop you right there, especially with, I mean, so again, just to bring this back, you're hanging out with someone essentially for 2 hours. I mean,
yep,
that's a lot of dead air if no one's talking. So normally, like, other than obviously educating them and going over everything, maybe let's use an example like Pete Alonso or Todd Frazier. What exactly, like, how do you make them feel comfortable? How do you get them to understand what they're going to be going through, especially when, it's a process of, educating them. You obviously have to do the measurements and all that. I know we'll
right.
get there, but what's that 2 hours like, especially in the conversation part of it?
A lot of it is talking about the suit and the details of it and going through that part of the process, finding out as much as I can about them and what they're going to be using the suit for, if it's a special occasion or if they're going to be doing it for work. What do they already have in their wardrobe? Sometimes I'll ask to see their closet
Yeah,
so that we can make comparisons and see if
awesome.
they're see if what we can match, what we can replace, and all that. So that's part of it. And then whenever we're not talking about them, I'm just trying to get to know them, having a regular conversation and find out about their life and how I can help them even outside of suits. Maybe I
Hmm.
can introduce them to somebody in my connections that can help them with something else that they're looking for in life,
That's great, man.
like sponsorships for Olympic athletes.
There we go. Look at,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
what a weirdly specific thing to bring up, man. That's crazy. I wonder who does that.
Random. I don't know. Yeah.
But no, man, I think that that's so awesome because again, the reason why I wanted to start the show is because my favorite thing is a really good conversation, and I love talking to my friends. So why not just click record, right?
Yeah.
So just the opportunity to sit down with someone and really learn who they are and get to talk about something that you're really passionate about, right? You
Hmm.
love suits. You like making people not just look good, but as we've said multiple times, feel really good. And if you can take them through that process, educate them, and even if necessary, go look into their closet. I think that's pretty funny. Just being able
Yeah.
to be like, hey, man, like, can I see what you already have? That way I can make a better educated decision. I'm sure a lot of this you learn through sales throughout your career, especially with paychecks and understanding, hey, let me understand what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. And I can
Yep.
give you my best judgment by my best information. So I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. And it's a great way to go about it.
It's great. It gets very personal too, because I'm with them for 2 hours. So we're having a lot of conversation, and we build a relationship, which is awesome. So I'm close with every client.
That's awesome. What does Pete
Yeah.
Alonso's closet look like?
I did not see his closet.
Ah, man. All right, all right. We don't have to
I
talk about
know.
him
Sorry,
too much
buddy.
anymore. I know Todd Frazier. You showed me. You didn't show me pictures of his house, but you told me about his house, and it looks and sounds really darn
In,
cool. So I'm kind of
insane.
jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His swimming pool alone is probably like 4 times the size of my house.
You have a
Yeah.
very nice
Yeah.
house too.
Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
gigantic swimming pool.
Thanks,
All
man.
right, good stuff. I like your
um,
house. It's
I did
great.
see his closet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was impressive. They have a separate walk-in closet for shoes alone.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness.
Beautiful house, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hope so, dude. Dude's an incredible baseball player. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
he's made he deserves more money in my opinion. So
Yeah. You think so? I agree with
well,
you.
yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
Players deserve all the money they get, especially in
Yeah.
sports like baseball, where hey man,
Yeah.
it's fully guaranteed. Take it, take the money and
Hmm.
run. All right,
Both
so
he and Pete are great dudes. Super humble.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice to work with.
I love it. That makes
Hmm.
it better, right? That makes it a
Yeah.
lot nicer to know. Because I have a friend who goes to a chiropractor, and this chiropractor is very relatively well known in the NFL world. So he works with athletes like Odell Beckham Jr. and Michael Thomas of the Saints, a couple
Hmm.
other guys. And he's told me stories. I'm not going to call out anybody here. First off, he says Odell is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Really?
Apparently he told his chiropractor told him, he's just like, yeah, I really like whatever kind of shoe, and he's just like, oh cool, that's great. The next time he shows up, he's just got like 4 pairs of shoes for the guy. Just like, hey, I'm
Oh,
not
it's
sure what
crazy.
size is you, so I brought a bunch. You can have them all, which is great. But then you hear about other people, and he's just like, yeah, they're just awful human beings. They're not
Yeah.
grateful. They're just not good people. So it's always nice to have some to get reaffirmed that one of your favorite baseball players is a good person, like Pete,
Yeah.
the giant polar bear, right? Like
He is, man.
we just want
He's
to
such a
snuggle
nice
him.
dude. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So he was so appreciative of the suit. He loved it, and yeah, really great dude.
I love it. And look, now you
Yeah.
get to work with him some more. Obviously, that
Hmm.
relationship building does work. So after that initial 1.5 to 2 hours, kind of like this consulting and education role,
Yep.
what is the?
Measurements as well.
Yep. Okay. So measurements happens
Hmm.
there as well.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, no.
I
Well,
don't
I
want to
was
cut
gonna
you off.
say, if measuring, like, let's be honest, you're putting your hands on people. You obviously have to do what you have to do when it comes there. I mean, how is that taken by a lot of people, and like that portion of it, considering, hey, like you have to know all of these things because you want the suit to look good, feel good, fit good.
Yeah. How is what taking the measurement
The
part of it?
measuring, like how people, especially that haven't had custom suits done. I mean, I've had a
Hmm.
couple, at Men's Warehouse, and
Yep.
yeah. I mean, it's a very personal process, to say the least.
It is for sure. So I most people are comfortable. They trust the process, and I find a lot of people when I take their waist measurement, they're always curious what that is, and
Uh,
never happy
yep.
with it. But regardless, I tell them, you look great. You're gonna look great in the suit. It doesn't matter if you feel like you need to lose some weight. It's custom made, so I'm gonna shape it so that you look good. You
Mhm.
know. But no, most people are comfortable, and they trust me. Yeah.
And I've never asked you that question before. I knew I was going to do this one day, so I saved that one, just to see how people react. Cause yeah, I mean, it can
Yeah.
be, I mean, there's lots of jokes that we can get into that we don't need to, but I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
exactly. A lot of that stuff is great. So
The
that's the,
inseam.
yes. But so
I
I
know
guess
where you
then
were going.
what's the rest of that process like, after a measurements, consultation, education,
Yep.
looking at
So,
someone's closet, checking out their shoes, all that stuff.
so during that first fitting, I take pictures as well as for reference. So when I'm going through after the fitting, it helps me just make sure everything's perfect. I'll put the order through online, and then in about 3 to 4 weeks, we'll receive what's called a toile, which is like the canvas of the suit almost in a thinner, lighter fabric, which has all these white stitches through it. They're called basting stitches, which are used to hold pieces of the garment together, which can be easily removed. So that's almost like that's the canvas of what the suit how the suit would fit based off of the measurements and the adjustments I put in if we were to make it right from that first fitting.
Okay.
But we use the toile to see how it would fit. That way we can make adjustments to it before we actually make the final garment. That way it comes out perfectly. We don't have to do any alterations after the fact. and you're good to go. What's great about the toile fitting is we can get so detailed to the point where I can rip the sleeve off and look at the height of the armhole to make sure it's sitting properly, so that the client has enough range of motion and they're comfortable. So there's a lot. It's almost like a science project where every single wrinkle on that garment is telling me something about the fit and what I need to tweak.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it makes sense because this fabric, as you said, is lighter, is thinner. And as we were talking about before, you're not messing around when it comes to your fabric. I've seen them. It's some extremely nice stuff you're working with. So I feel like the less handling of those fabrics is probably for the better, correct?
Absolutely. So you can alter it. You can pretty much tailor almost any part of the jacket or the suit after it's done. But the more you do, the less likely it will drape the way it was made to. It just won't be 100% if you have to alter it more. So it's best to just get it perfect from the start.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so once we do the toile fitting, I'll send the adjustments into my tailors after that. And then we make the final piece. And that takes about 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
That will come in. We'll do a third fitting, try it on. If anything needs to be done at that point, we'll do that. That takes about a week to 2 weeks. And then you're good to go.
I love it. So that timeline, so from initial consultation all the way to, them, having the suit in their closet, what does that normally take? About 2 months?
It could, but on average about, 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 months.
I was going to say, I think I did my math, making me feel bad.
Not
quite that long, about 8 weeks. All right. Okay.
That's 2 weeks.
You win. It's your business, not mine. Not mine. And that's
8
great,
weeks,
man.
okay, not 2 months.
Deal. Well, I guess that's true. I mean, there's an extra week in 2 months. Anyway, I think it's great. And again, I love what you do, and I think it's you just always look so good.
Thanks,
and I know, man. I tell you that.
Let's not forget. I appreciate it. Let's not forget you had the luxury of wearing.
That's true. Oh my gosh. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. Oh, and then it took me like 3 months to get it back to you. Yes.
You still have my shirt.
Holy shit, I still have your shirt. It's coming. I promise.
Okay.
Probably not
I'll
tomorrow, but it's coming. So Jeff, thank you for reminding me. I forgot. This is a good story too. So Jeff and I, we have friends that are part of I didn't forget it. I just forgot to bring it up. Are part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation in New York City. And they had this incredible gala, and Jeff was able, and it was amazing, dude. Cipriani, yes. Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. That food was insane, dude. I think I had some kind of Chilean bass or whatever. I don't know. It was nuts. I
don't disappoint.
I hit the ball way out of my league. It was awesome. I had no reason being there, but I actually did, because thankfully, one of the incredible Olympic athletes that I work with, Ariel Gold, she was willing to donate her time and energy, as well as an incredible resort out in Bachelor Gulch, Colorado. They were, we were able to drum up some sort of 5 figures number, over 20,000, to donate to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And it was incredible. And I needed to wear a tuxedo. And I was going to rent a tuxedo. And then Jeff said, why don't you just wear one of my tuxedos? And then Jeff was nice enough to give me the suit he'd wear to his wedding. I looked incredible. It was nuts. I opened up my jacket all the time just so people could see the Jeffrey Scott in it. It was just incredible. No alterations needed. I guess I was the perfect size that you were when you got married. So I appreciate that. And yeah, man, that was such a fun night. It was incredible. Jeff and I, we raised a bunch of money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was so amazing. Got to make friends, and it was out of this world. But man, that's probably the best I ever looked in my entire life, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably the best I ever looked.
I wouldn't disagree.
You're terrible. But yeah, man, that was incredible. Jeff got to make a wonderful person a suit as well. Did you make that suit yet for that guy?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Was it great? Good person? See?
Yes.
Raising money left and right.
Jack Wilkes.
Thank you, Jack.
Attorney in the city.
Mm.
I actually just did the second fitting with him last week. Just a couple of minor alterations, and we're good to go.
Look at that. And if
Yeah.
Jack works at a attorney's office in the city, that means he's probably got friends that are attorneys as well. So,
Oh,
Jack, if
yes.
you're listening, I'm sure Jeff would love to meet your friends. But
Thank you,
no,
Jack.
thank you, Jack. We appreciate your help. But no, I mean, just the people that were there that night was incredible. The fact that everybody looked so darn good in their suits. Not everybody looked as good as me, of course, but it is what it is.
Nope.
And man, was it great. So, thank you for reminding me of that, Jeff. That's wonderful.
Of
Do you have any other
course.
stories that you have to remind me about? Other than
No,
the
I
fact that
think,
I have to give you back your shirt. You'll get your shirt back.
yeah,
The next thing I like to
I
ask,
don't believe you anymore.
honestly, I wouldn't believe me either. It's been like 7 months at this point. I feel like an idiot. I just forget. It's just, I'm sorry. It's never top of mind, and it really should be, and I
It's
apologize.
okay. You
You'll
might
get
as
it
well
back.
keep it at this point.
Oh, but yeah, the fact that Jeff allowed me to not have to rent a tuxedo. I then bought him a really nice dinner. That was sweet. That was
You
really
did?
good. I don't remember the name of
You
that
didn't
place, but
have
it was
to,
insane.
but thank you.
I wanted to. That's what good people do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember the name of that place, but man, was it good.
It
It
was
was in
in
Lambertville.
Lambertville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And that
remember.
ice cream was good too. So
Ooh, yes.
anybody in the area listening, there's a random place in Lambertville that sells ice cream, and it's incredible. So
Oh,
I
wow,
love it.
cow.
Oh wow, cow! There we go. What an
Yes.
adorable name too. Look at that.
Love it.
So Jeff, how? So you're looking to work with more athletes, as we said before. They need the suits. We know they need this. We see them in suits all the time, right?
Yeah.
We know that they have the money. Not to point fingers, but even the people that make the least amount of money in the NBA and the NFL and the MLB, they're pulling in six figures a year. Now we know that
Sure.
gravy train is not going to be there forever, but at the same time, you got to look good, you got to play good. You might as well buy a really nice custom suit. What are some
Right.
other ways that you're looking to get in front of these athletes to help them with something that you know is a need already, and a need that you're passionate about and you want to help them with?
Yeah. So other than reaching out to them on social media, hoping for the connections that I have now to just spread within, for them to see the suits, for the other players to see the suits and question it, and for them to make referrals for me, obviously would be huge. I've also reached out to sports agents who I know you work with as well, because those could be good connections to break into that industry. Financial planners who focus on that industry are great as well. Stylists, so celebrity professional stylists, I've reached out to. So just trying to find all these different avenues and connect with people in that industry to help them, and then start a relationship.
Yeah, I mean that's the name of the game. It's all relationship based, especially when you're dealing with high net worth people. They're not first shot 9 times out of 10 they aren't going to say yes. Luckily, you did hit on a couple, and it looks like it's going to be awesome, and they're going to be great relationships for a very long time.
I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, as you should be. You get to hang out with Pete Alonso, so you need a
Yeah.
date to his wedding. I know you have a wonderful wife, but I'm always open, bud. I'm always open.
It'll be
But
in Ireland. I don't know.
I'll pay for your plane ticket.
Yeah.
Deal? Deal. Okay, good. No, but in all seriousness, going back to social media and how huge that has become for all types of business owners, especially someone like yourself, and in fashion and a very visual industry, Instagram is huge because obviously it's a very visual medium. And I think one thing that personally, I'm sure I've told you this before, but I'd love to say it again. You do a great job at educating. You do a great job at getting people to understand why they would want a custom made suit, but what are the benefits of that? Not just the features, not that, hey, it's this, it's this material. Okay, that means nothing to me, but you explain why this material is good for someone in my situation. And I think you do an awesome job of that. And again, there's a reason why you got 20K followers on Instagram. You do a hell of a good job at social media, and I love it.
Thank
and
you,
I like all your stuff, and I try and share it when I can. And I think just by doing that and connecting with more and more athletes, and then reaching out to them and letting them see, hey, this guy doesn't, he clearly has my best interest in mind. I think you're going to be extremely successful, and hopefully there's more people I can continue to introduce for you, and you can, we'll get to 100 suits. You'll have all the New Jersey Devils, the Islanders, the Giants. Hopefully, that's the one I know we're gunning for the most. So, man, if there's anything I can do, always know I'd love to help in any way.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. You've done a lot. You're extremely helpful, and I'm always trying to help you as well, dude.
And I
I'm
appreciate
excited to
everything
see
you've
your
done.
business thrive because I know it will.
We're doing it all. We're doing it at the same time. I think if we
Hmm.
just keep on this path, we'll both be extremely successful in due time. But
Yes,
until then,
yes,
we hang out every once in a while, and then
yeah,
we do things like this, and it's a blast.
yeah.
So, Jeff, is there anything else? I mean, that was pretty much all I had for you, man. You got to tell me. Is there any cool stories about Pete Alonso that will make me like him even more that you want to tell?
I don't know much, dude.
No.
I mean,
All
did you
right.
see the video I posted of him
Yeah,
swinging the bat
swinging
in
the
the
bat in
suit?
a suit. I mean,
I
that's pretty
I thought he
difficult,
was gonna
right?
rip it,
I
but
thought he was gonna rip it too.
I'm surprised he did not. But
Yes, and I'll make
that was
sure
impressive.
there's a link there. As I said, Jeff, your website, all your socials, I have all that stuff, I'm sure. So I'll just make sure all that's there. But if there's any other awesome pictures you might want to send me, like with you and Pete Alonso, I'm definitely
Cool.
willing to post all that, and we'll make sure to
Thank
tag
you, man.
him, and hopefully
Yeah.
he shares it, and then we get to become best friends. And until then, awesome, very good friend of mine, Jeff or Jeffrey Scott.
Whatever.
So I guess we'll roll with
I
Jeff,
don't. Yeah, I'm
owner,
good either way.
designer of Jeffrey Scott, Jeffrey Appelson. Really appreciate your time today, man.
Thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate it, buddy.